Good evening everyone, I'm Gauri Bhardwaj and I'm going to tell you a role in finance called financial analyst and what do they do, what are their skills required, what are the future prospects of financial analysts, and also what skills do they need to become someone at an even bigger position. Let's begin. So financial analysts are people who manage and make decisions of finance based on various financial sources. And what do these financial sources may be? It may be called as the financial statements like balance sheet or your cash flow statement or your profit and loss account. Financial analysts' main roles come from three: budgeting decisions, which is called as capital budgeting, financial budgeting, and investment budgeting decisions. So investing budgeting decisions basically refers to analyzing that what companies or what projects are something which the company could invest in and which could give fruitful results. For example, we use tools like NPV, IRR, and ARR methods to find out which company is worth investing into. And financing decisions is what capitals need to be financed. For example, a company, let's take an example, company A, which works for short term, is making a decision whether to go expand its business projects, that is buying more capitals, fixed capitals, machinery, land, etc., or rather just staying in the short run. So that decision is called financing decisions, and if they want to expand, they need to buy more fixed assets. And buying fixed assets actually will increase your productivity in the long run, but not in the short run. In short run, you can only buy fixed assets which would give results only for a limited time period. For example, let's say 5 years. And capital decisions are the decisions in which we need to ensure how to raise money, for example through equity or through debt. And this is decisions which financial analysts need to make. Now let's talk about, actually this was some of the decisions which they need to make. Now let's talk about what skills are required by financial analysts to ensure that the work they do is up to the standard. So the first skill which they need is the knowledge of basic financial tools, for example Excel, Power BI. And the second of all is having analytical thinking, and by that I mean they should have the ability to make rational decisions about what projects and what areas they need to improve on, what projects do they need to invest in, if they need restructuring or not, if they need to merge or acquire some other company, or they need to change which projects or which areas they finance their sources from. And the third skills which they require is this third skill which they require is the knowledge of ratio analysis, forecasting, accounting basics. So I'll explain that in one point because all of these are related. So ratio analysis is analyzing how a company is doing based on particular ratios which are derived from the financial statements. For example, current ratio, liquidity ratio, profitability ratio, and in profitability ratio we have gross profit ratio and asset debt ratio. Sorry, it's not in the profitability ratio, but asset debt ratio is also considered. So basically these ratios tells how a company is doing how better a company is doing based on numbers or based on the output they're doing, they're generating. Okay, so current ratio is basically figuring out current ratio form is current assets upon current liabilities, and it means figuring out that how much assets to liability the ratio is, and how much liabilities do we have, assets do we have to pay off the debt, short-term debt we have. The idle ratio is 2:1, and then we have liquidity ratio, that is how fast we can convert assets, short-term assets to cash or cash equivalents, which can be bank reserve, BRs, TR, trade receivables, and other assets. And accounting basics, again using tally and having sufficient knowledge about basic accounts being made, like profit and loss, balance sheet, and basically all that. And forecasting, like based on your past experiences, forecast what could happen in the future, because the business environment is dynamic in nature. And the career prospects of financial analyst is becoming a senior analyst. I think we all saw that coming. Becoming a finance manager, becoming a CFO. CFO is a chief financial officer, basically, which is the person who's the head of financing of all the finance activities which goes on in a company. So I think that's all for today. I hope you were able to understand what financial analysts do, what their roles are, and what are the future aspects if you, as a viewer, are interested in watching and maybe having a career in it. Thank you so much. Bye bye.